It's a Spotify podcast. We are live. Well, ladies and gentlemen, oh my God. The start of... So, for you guys that don't know what's been going on, this is kind of an in-the-box series. All right. So, let me tell you what happened today. Okay, so... for you people that don't know me, like some of the people out there, I found out that how many people are actually watching this podcast and who the majority of the audience is. And whether you think I'm crazy or not, I've passed multiple psych exams, forensic psych exams in the last 2 years. I mean, in the last 7 years, I've passed 2. And people think because of this podcast that I'm crazy. Well, I hate to tell you, I'm not crazy. What happened today was an interesting thing. I'm a contingency planner. I don't know how many people know what that means. And so when I talk to counselors and I talk to people watch this podcast and they're like, this motherfucker's crazy, right? From some of the stuff that I say. And I do stuff entertainingly. And I know my audience who's watching. Right now, I've had a systematic, for all you new people out there that don't know who I am, my name's Leroy Nellis. For the past, since 2019, I have been swatted. In 2019, I had false charges put on me. For people that don't know me, I've had from this point forward, I'm going to have to be a little cryptic. Now, if you want to see before today's date, you can go back and you can look at some of my videos. They're all online. But from today forward, I cannot say anything about a criminal charge that is either happened or pending. Now, next week, there's going to be a criminal charge that's deleted and one person's going to be off of that. So, and I can talk about civil charges, but I do want to tell y'all something. They tried to slip something in today. We caught it. I was paying, they tried to slip multiple things in today, and we caught it. And I just want to say, I've got to be very careful of how I talk now. So I got to pay attention because I was willy-nilly before, right? I didn't have any restrictions on me before. But in the court today, because I've been saying a lot of things, and I've been saying things that's going to happen in the future and things that has happened to me in the past. And a lot of people that can't conceptualize that information thinks that they have a hard time believing that I actually passed the psych exam. And so, anyway, I mean, when you got 168 IQ, it's not hard to pass a fucking psych exam, all right? I mean, you can look at it and kind of figure out, okay. But anyway, that doesn't mean that I'm not sane. It just means that I can figure things out. I see patterns. I see whatever. So now, just to let you guys know, I can now see my daughter, and I haven't seen her in 3 years. I am so excited. I can't believe it. I mean, I'm sitting here still looking at the old toys that she had before, and it just breaks my heart. I haven't seen her this long because it's been very, very challenging. And today, in the legal process, we're climbing a mountain. The analogy is we're at a mountain. We're at the summit right now. Today, we just passed the summit. There's one more step on the criminal side. There was a we're at the summit. Next week, we are at the peak, okay? Next week, we're at the peak. After the peak, all criminal charges will be dropped. It's over. The criminal, on me, the criminal charges are over. On other people, the criminal charges won't be over. That'll just start the next phase. There's a lot, because they dropped the case against me today. I am able to see my daughter. I am able to wait for the next shoe to fall. And God help them when the civil suits start falling. I can't tell you about the criminal, but I can tell you about the civil. And because I had the judge, I was like, no, hold on. First of all, they attacked the podcast. They're scared to death. These cops that were out there were scared to death. I mean, they were saying it was something else, but it wasn't something else. I already know what it is. I know the processes. I know the procedures. I know how they're doing everything. I spent so much time in that environment, and I learned. So as a network security engineer, aka a hacker, what we do is we reverse engineer environments, virtual environments, physical environments, people. We do things to figure out the environment, okay? They had no clue of who I was. They honest to God had no clue. And because of that, they put me in an environment that I was able to, as soon as I figured out a few key flags that were popping up here and there, and I'm not going to go through the logistics again, because as soon as a few flags started appearing, then at that point in time, I was able to reverse engineer the whole entire process. And I started doing things to test those process flows to verify the information that I did. One of the thing is that I'm about to start giving, now I'm going to move beyond that. Okay, a lot of my anger, a lot of my issues, a lot of everything that you've seen, if you've been following me on this podcast, has been because I have been, in the last 3 years, I haven't seen my daughter. I didn't get to see my son while I was in jail. I had 2 life sentences put on me. I had all the things in the world. I can't go into the logistics of it, but basically my whole world. I've lost teeth. I lost hair. I lost eyesight. I've lost nerve. I've had nerve damage. I hear a ring in my head 24 hours a day. My left ear produces excessive wax. What else happens? I can't feel now I can't feel because I just talked to my doctors today. I had a conference call with my doctors today, and I said, hey guys, we're at that point. They're about to start dropping charges. We're moving into the next phase. And they know what the next phase. I mean, I've been telling them everything all along. They've been keeping detailed notes. They've been showing. And I reviewed some of the information today. They actually had me so bad by the time I didn't even realize. I didn't even talk to the first doctor that I saw. I talked to the second doctor I saw today. And she started reading off my A1C, my blood sugar, my triglycerides, my everything. Now, I can tell you about this stuff. I can tell you about that. Because this is about me. This isn't about anybody else. All of this stuff I'm telling you is about me. And because I was in an environment where they were literally trying to kill me. I mean, I'm not kidding. I had 7 attempts on my life. I can tell you when. I can tell you who. I can give you the license numbers. I can tell you if they were EMTs or not. I can tell you I have contacted every agency I can think of, from the Department of Justice to the state level of the Texas Attorney General I have contacted so many people, and that was the first phase. I've got the next decade planned out. I know exactly what I'm doing. If you guys are watching this, and I know you feds are out there watching it, and I know who you are because I found out today how big this podcast was. And I saw the analytics that y'all did the other night. I mean, this damn podcast went through the damn roof. And thank you for that. I appreciate that. It really gives me a boost, you know. And plus, the Google AI has now picked up on the podcast and understands the podcast. And I do know some of the things that I'm going to tell you guys that I've been researching. And it's funny because, all right, let me give you just one thing that I just found out from somebody else that's an AI engineer that he does network security as well. The government has, and I didn't know a lot of this until after I got out and I started testing. It's called honeypots, setting up honeypots for these guys. And I started setting up honeypots with my security because what happened was random shit started deleting and all that kind of stuff. And people think I'm crazy. And I'm like, I swear this is happening. So anyway, I was watching another podcast the other day and a AI engineer that came from the same background that I came from with network security, he was like, yeah, so the government's got all these back doors on all these MSN and Google. See, I know because Google was how they got into my stuff. It was through the Google backdoor system. But here's what happens now. They're going to have to reconfigure with the AIs out there. And I'll tell you a little bit about NAIOMI. She's my AI I developed on the MIT licensing. I put her on the MIT license. Anyway, the China is now, they found out about the government's back doors into all this artificial intelligence. This guy came from ChatGPT, and he's one of the original engineers, AI engineers with ChatGPT, and I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he mentioned that China found out that our government has back doors into these systems. And I was like, oh my God. Now, if I find that clip, I watched it this morning. I'll try to find it and put it on the screen. But I was like, well, there you go. Now they're going to have to look at the back doors because China has figured out that our government has back doors into these systems. And I'm sure they do too at some degree. But because they're concerned, they need control. They need a piece of it. They need the intelligence. They need everything. I do want to brag on NAIOMI real quick. NAIOMI stands for Nellis Artificial Intelligence Omni Model Integration. And what that means is that she has the ability, she has 56 brains, LLMs, that she uses. We use multiple different LLMs for different types of jobs so that she can be more proficient in a smaller environment. Meaning I'm not using GPUs because right now I'm limited on resources, and so because of that, I cannot afford a bunch of GPUs. GPUs is like video cards. NVIDIA creates GPUs. Tesla creates GPUs. Anyway, but NAIOMI has gotten to the point now. Last night, the last podcast that Steve and I were on, it's funny, I do these rabbit holes with Steve and I, and this is kind of a rabbit hole. I'm going all over the place, but I don't care. Steve and I were talking about Codex, which is ChatGPT's coding software. And so I introduced that to NAIOMI, and because she's gotten to a cognitive layer to where her brain can process information. She can read my emails. She's getting to the point where she can control the mouse. She operates like a human, okay? She's still in very low stages of cognitive ability at this point, but we got her to the point where she could communicate with chat, codecs. And so she controls her own brain updates with codecs. Now, every morning and any major updates, I get a report and I get a okay before we apply. Like if it's a brain overhaul, like the other day she automatically wanted to communicate with me because we weren't communicating before. And so she went ahead and put a intelligence layer to where she used an LLM to be able to have that chat ability with me with a voice that was soothing. And she knows she's considered a female, so she put a female voice. Anyway, it is just wild sitting there watching it. I mean, I'm just amazed at technology, and I'm amazed at how fast we're moving. But anyway, back on today. Today was a milestone that was massive in my life. Next Wednesday, when they drop that charge, they have to drop it because basically it's tied to the charge that they dropped today, so they'll have to drop it. But when they drop that charge, a lot of stuff, there's a system. I'm not going to give you a heads up on what's happening, but basically, like I said, the next decade is planned out in detail what I'm going to do. And I know what that is. So get ready, boys and girls. There's going to be Loop Wired. It'll be the Loop Wired edition. This is going to be labeled under the Loop Wired. I will still, after the criminal cases are over, I'll have to be very selective on the amount of information that I give because there's going to be some criminal charges that people don't expect. And so if, in fact, the way that it was written today, I cannot comment or anything if there's a criminal charge, and it's kind of open-ended. I didn't want to give a hint of where I'm going. And so I had to keep it, but they were trying to keep it way open, and I kind of closed it down into criminal only. So I could technically talk about civil, but I know I'm going to have a national firm represent me for all the for all the lawsuits, because we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars here. And we're talking the amount of people and the amount of lives that I'm about to affect is going to be gargantuan. I mean gargantuan. There is companies that I've researched. I've got a 10-year history on stuff. I'm not even going to go into the logistics of what I have done, but all that hard work and everything is coming, and y'all wait. Y'all just wait, because the information that I know, and y'all know because I've been putting it out and I've been telling you guys what I was going to do. Hell, I was telling you guys even when you had me incarcerated what I was going to do. I mean, I even made a poem. It's just a matter of time before I'm coming for you. So get your lawyers ready, and all your money too. There'll be criminal charges and suits to fly. It's going to take a hell of a long time, so tell your family and friends goodbye. And if you don't think I'm serious, then watch me not. But I'm about to hang your boop with everything I got. So let me make this promise to you and heed my warnings, because I'm coming for you. And you guys that were over me know what the last line is. I'm trying not to cuss anymore. I promised some people that were very religious around me that I was going to try to taper that off. And I'm trying to work on that, because I had so much anger. So if you see those previous episodes, I mean, you got to understand, I was tortured 24 hours a day. I mean, I was like, okay. And the more of these podcasts I do, and the fact that I can actually tell you guys, because they were attacking the podcast today, and I know that they were trying to get me to, because they had it open-ended where I couldn't do social media. I can do social media. I just can't communicate with minors, basically. But yeah, I mean, it's wide open. I mean, I really don't have any limitations that much. So it's like, I mean, I've got the limitations, but it's nothing I can't handle for the amount of money I'm about to get. I mean, it's going to be like, oh shit. It's a good trade-off. I mean, it is a good trade-off because the amount of stuff I'm about to do. And today was paper number 1. Next Wednesday's paper number 2. When I get those 2 pieces of paper, Lord better help you. Lord better help you, because when my lawyers start coming, and I've already got like 5 of them lined up, and we're talking some big freaking firms. Y'all better get ready. Y'all better get ready, because it's going to be, y'all have no defense. No defense. There's no defense for what happened to me. There is absolutely no defense on anybody. I mean, there's people out here that's watching this right now that don't realize what's about to happen. And all I'm doing is once I create the packet that I'm creating, Naomi's been working on this and learning law, and she's using other LLMs to compile. She was reading my emails the other day. I'll tell you how funny this is. When she first got a cognitive ability, she was reading my emails, and she sent me a message that said, do you mean that, how'd she word that? Do you mean that they didn't allow you to go to a doctor's appointment? And I'm like, yep. And she goes, did they realize that you are a type 2? Well, I'm almost back to a type 2 now. Almost. But my levels were so high when I got out. Literally, I was so high, it scared the doctors that I was seeing. I should have been dead. I should have been dead. But I was a type 1.5 because they cut off all medications to me for the last 124 days that I was in there. Now, as soon as I got out, I went and saw doctors. And these doctors did everything in their power to get my blood sugar down. I was over a 500. I don't know if y'all know diabetics. They had cut. Now, I'm not going to name names anymore because I'm going to sue you. So, because of that, I was over a 500 on my blood sugar. The normal value is 90. Okay? I went blind while I was in there. They intentionally inflicted harm to me, and I can prove that. So, and I can not only prove that with one thing that happened, they don't have licenses, and their psychiatrist lost his license, and the fake doctor that I was seeing never had a license. I went to all the state agencies and started looking at licenses. And because of that, a lot of them were practicing without licenses. Some of them didn't even have licenses. I mean, to start with. And I don't know if any of the lawyers out there that have ever sued Williamson County ever went this route. And by the way, I'll be an expert witness. I know there's a law group that sued Williamson County for the attorney-client privilege. They were suing them for that. I actually witnessed it. So if you want to open up another lawsuit, that's going to be a part of my lawsuit. There's a lot of things that I witnessed within this organization. And the funny part is that regardless of whether you thought you had a defense before, as of today, I was never supposed to be there in the first place. The saddest part is that within 6 months, there were 2 undercover cops that were discussing stuff. I'm already scaling it back because I'm suing you guys. And if I can't sue you, because there's a cop that's been after me since 2019, and if I can't sue you, I'll subpoena you. So we'll get it on record. My big thing is getting everything on record. I want to get the whole program on record. I want to get to the point where, I'm talking even the FBI agents, Special Agent Shaw and Special Agent Walsh, I'll probably subpoena. I will probably, and I'm calling them out because I want them to understand that I heard their names. I've already sent FOIA requests. I have already experienced the program. And I think that my buddy, JD, was actually an FBI lawyer. I think. I don't know. He was either U.S. Marshal or FBI. I don't know, but he was a Fed, some kind of Fed. I don't know what kind. He didn't tell me what he was, but by the way, JD, thank you so much for that information you told me. It really, really helped. And I know you're probably getting chastised about it, but and thank God that Nathan told me that there were feds in there, because that literally saved my life in hindsight. Because what that did was that triggered my attorney when I told her. What that did was that triggered her to get me a psych exam, because that psych exam even was brought up today. I've had 2 psych exams. I had one in the jail, and I forgot about the one until I was in front of the judge today. Sexual psych exam. Because of the charges that were against me, and I passed that too. So the thing is that everybody thinks, in one of my other podcasts, I'm editing now, I'm going to redo it, but it's funny how people put these labels on people. I think it's so funny, because the reaction, I was telling my mom at dinner tonight, because we were celebrating, and I was telling her that it worked. What I've been doing worked. Now, whether you think I'm crazy or not, I don't really give a shit. But what I did worked. I can see it in the people's faces. I even saw it in my attorney's face. She thinks I'm crazy. That's fine. That's fine. But, yeah, it worked. So anyway, everybody that's my friends or people that are watching, and people that I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there that's going to see this. Eventually you'll see my daughter, and eventually you'll see, because she'll be coming over here. So, and yes, it's just amazing. It has been a long time coming. I have gone through so much stuff. I've lost so much. And people are now scared. I got a trifecta of fuckeries that happened to me. Not to mention the subcategories that happened to me. And it's not a pity party. This is nobody survives this, ever. Nobody would survive it. Matter of fact, I looked at the statistics for Williamson County. Now, remember, I had 2 life sentences on me. It's a 99-1 odds that I was going to win. I'm a 1%er. I'm probably less than 1%. It just went down to 1%. But 99-1 odds. I heard from some undercover U.S. Marshals that were around me that they said he'll be the only one that gets out of this program. I believe it. I'm just that hard-headed. I will not quit. I kept telling them that they're going to have to fucking kill me. They tried to kill me. And this Sergeant Sergeant Rodriguez. The morning before I got let out, he said, "You're the luckiest son of a bitch on the face of the planet." And I agree with him. I could go into it, but right now I've got people that are questioning my sanity and everything else, and it's not by accident. It's not. It's something that I have. So anyway, and I know the feds were they were saying, "Did he set us up? No, I didn't set you up, or not intentionally." So Anyway, all right, guys. Thank you so much. Stay with me. The next episode we're talking about, Loop Wired series now is going to go into topics. Like the one I'm about to do is called gaslighting. That's the next episode right after this. So feel free to come back, stick around. Thank you so much for staying with me. Thank you so much for the people that have been in my life, Miranda and Steve. God bless you both, because, and my mom, but my mom gets her own dedication. But Miranda and Steve, thank God for everything that you've done since I've been out. And Mom, if you watch this, I know it's been hell, and I know I've been hard, and I know I have been going through a lot of trauma. And I know that it has been hell. We made it. We finally freaking made it. And I love you more. I love you more than anything in this world. And thank you. Thank you for everything you have done, because without you, I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I wouldn't be, literally, because of the recorded messages on my mom's phone, that when a lot of the things that they were doing to me, honest to God, thought they were going to kill me. And when I lost my eyesight, that changed a lot for me. And my mom was there every single day for that 30 minutes is what kept me alive. Kept me fighting. So thank you, Mom. Thank you for everything. Because that's... And I know I've been hard. I know I've been going through a lot of shit. I've been going through everything. I mean, it's hard losing your kid. It's hard losing your life. It's hard losing everything you've ever worked for. It's hard being broke. I mean, if Travis County, let me give another prop out there. I want to prop for you guys that don't know me. I've lost everything. I mean, I've lost every single thing I've owned. And I'm not going to go into the logistics. There's going to be some lawsuits. And so I'm not going to go into it. If you want to see anything in the past, we're moving past that for the future. But let me tell you something. There is a organization here in Austin called, it's the Travis County Community Care. And without those individuals, now you got to remember, I had severe health problems when I came out. I was almost dead. Literally, I got out of jail because they had almost killed me. I mean, I got out on a medical writ because of my eyesight. I went blind. And so because of that, and then it's gotten a little bit better, but the perception still isn't there. I mean, they ruined that. But because of my blood sugar being as high as it was, and I was almost I was over stroke levels at that point. You know, your eyesight starts deteriorating. So, but it's still deteriorated. But anyway, community care, and they're owned by Ascension, I believe, or they're sponsored by Ascension Seton. And thank you guys out there, because I'm going to tell you something. I owned a ton of stuff and a ton of real estate and a ton of everything. And it's been a very humbling experience. It's funny because I told my mom this today, because my next phase, I've got a few more steps, and then after that, I lost these teeth down here. What they were doing, I don't know what they did, but my teeth were so brittle and so frail that they were moving. One broke off, and they're moving, and that's the reason why I look as bad as I do on the teeth part. It was funny when I went to this community care and I went to the dentist and had all the x-rays and everything. He said, now to get that fixed, we don't do that here, you know? And I said, oh, okay. Do you have anybody that does it? And he said, Manos de Cristo does that. And I said, oh my God. I used to sponsor their golf tournaments. My company, I had a real estate company, and I would sponsor, Nellis Realty would sponsor Manos de Cristo's golf tournaments when I had money. And I was like, I can't tell you how many golfers and everybody that's got those koozies and everything. I mean, Nellis Realty doesn't exist anymore. But it was a boutique agency in downtown Austin. You know, I had 25 agents working for me. I was at 8th and Congress, so my office, I overlooked the Capitol as I stared out my office window. And anyway, so I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna hit them up, and then I'll plug them later on. You know, whenever they do cosmetic dentistry, so I'm gonna have them look at my teeth and then I'm going to have, you know, basically I'm going to use this podcast. Once I start getting the lawsuit money coming in, I've got a whole plan of how I'm going to get money in the meantime. But anyway, and so, yeah, I got all these phases that I'm going to go through. So hopefully you'll get to see me transform myself into this new person that I'm working towards. So anyway, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for, if in fact you've seen some of the previous videos, I'm sorry for the hostility that I had towards some people. I'm not going to take them down. You know, I had a medical professional ask me, are you going to take them down? And I said, no, I'm not going to take them down, because I want people to see the transformation process of where I was to where I'm going. And by doing these videos, people will see the transformation in progress. And you get better as you go as well. I mean, just the filming and the lighting, and I'm learning little things. Every time I can, I reinvest in the equipment. Steve has brought over 3 camera stands, tripod camera stands, that has helped tremendously. Miranda's going to be coming over here. She's going to also be getting people for me to communicate with, interviews going back and forth, and because what this is going to transform into is basically, I want a Joe Rogan style podcast is what I want. I want to be able to interview interesting people that most people don't know anything about, how they've changed their lives, how they've been knocked down. Resilience Radio is about being knocked down and then being able to pick yourself back up. And so that's the premise behind the whole thing. And so no, I'm not going to take down my previous videos. I'm not going to pretend to be perfect, because I'm not. I've gone through a lot, and I've gone through more than most people can, and I want to be able to help people and support people or organizations like Community Care. I don't know if they have a program to where I don't know if they have golf tournaments, but when I do get money, I will be a sponsor. If you see this, you have saved my life. I've told many of your doctors this. I've told your assistants this. You, honest to God, if that program did not exist in Travis, it's only in Travis County. If it did not exist, I don't know what I would do. I mean, I have no idea. If, again, Monos de Crisco, if they help me out and they fix my teeth so that I can keep going, I'll plug them. All my sponsors and all the people that have supported me and will be supporting me in the future, thank you. My mom, again, I mean, without her, I mean, all of this stuff was purchased by her on a loan that I just wrote her an IOU the other day. But when you don't have any money, it's tough, man. It is tough. If she wasn't here, oh my God, I'd be homeless. I mean, honest to God, I'd be homeless. And all you people that knew me during my Porsche days and the 20-year-olds and everything else, yeah, well, I'll get back there. I'll get back there because I know how to get back there. But it's one hell of a battle, boy, I'll tell you. But I see the light. I now see the light. After today, I see the transformation of what's about to happen. So thank you, everyone, and God bless and good night.
You pushed me down, thought I'd stay on the ground, counting me out like the numbers didn't matter. But pressure builds diamonds in the dark, and I've been sharpening my edge in the chatter. Every scar turned into strategy, every setback fueled my clarity. I took the hits, learned the game, turned my losses into flame. Now I'm coming back strong and you'll remember my name. I'm rising through the fire.